She told me she didn't like green tractors. I said, girl, that's a turnoff. As I was editing this video, it occurred to me that I never really prefaced what I was doing. So this planter behind me, I've already rebuilt it now, but it had some issues, like some of the gauge wheel rubbers were split. And as I took it apart even further, I found some other stuff that I probably should replace before I used it. So that's what this video is going to be, starting with taking all of the gauge wheel rubbers off. All I'm doing to get these rubbers off of the wheel, I'm sticking my little chisel here, then I'm tap, tap, tap until I get the bead broke here. And then I take this chisel, pry it over until I get enough room to put the chisel and the screwdriver both in. And then I'm just kind of working my way around until this dish pops off. See if I can get it with one hand. Okay, let's try this again. This is a pretty bad failure. Here's the moment of truth. Finally. Tap, tap, tap. And that's how you get the gauge wheel, or the rubber off of a gauge wheel. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I'm gonna set these halves back together and then put them over there with the other 11. You see this? Yeah, that's a problem, but I have a solution. That's better. Now she's tighter than an 8-day clock. That's what this is. It is 9:15 and my shoe porter just showed up. They told me it would be here on Wednesday, but I didn't think it would be 9:15 on Wednesday. 9:15 p.m. that is. Armed with my Birkenstocks, this drill, and some zip ties, I'm gonna put all these Keaton seed firmers on my seed tubes, and we're gonna get them on the planter. This is what they look like when they're on the seed tube. Now, doing one of these really isn't that complicated. You open the bag, duh. It's your, I can't remember what it's called. Then you got the firmer itself, and I'm taking the little blue tube out of it because I'm not running any sort of in-furrow fertilizer. Set that off to the side, and then there's a little red dealio, this thing here. Toss that to the side too. We got 3 zip ties, and get your seed tube. You put it on the seed tube on the very bottom. There's a little nub right here. That indexes off the bottom of the seed tube, like so. This is what it's supposed to go together like. This is how I do it. I take the, I can't remember what it's called. Slide it in there, okay? Take your Milwaukee, take a zip tie, put it through this hole, up and around, and you put it up like on the top side of this hook that the seed tube indexes off of. Then you tighten down your zip tie, or cable tie if your door swings that way. You crank that down like so. There you have it. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to this. The point of a seed firmer is as the seed's coming out the bottom of the tube, this is gonna apply some pressure to it just to get a little bit better seed to soil contact, and maybe help get your beans or corn or whatever you're planting, get that up out of the ground a little bit faster. You see these 12 rubber gauge wheels? Those go on the rims. Not looking forward to this. So in an hour, I was able to get approximately 2 of these deals put together, and I have 10 more. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. We're going to tackle this tomorrow. There's a brand new John Deere 8R. Tell you guys what, I really like getting up at 11 a.m. and then not getting outside until noon. That is the last gauge wheel. I'm glad. You know, a guy would think this was an animal farm with the amount of critters we have sitting around. This is Yellow Cat. This is Puppy Dog. This is Socks because she has white feet. Meow. We are reaching the stage with this planter rebuild or refurbish or whatever, where we're putting the gauge wheels back on. I already put all the disc openers back on, and I put scrapers on this planter because this planter came from Illinois, and in Illinois, apparently they don't feel the need to have scrapers. I put disc openers, I put the seed firmers on, I put the seed tube guards, I put seed tubes on it, you name it. I've probably done it or at least taken it apart. I have to put the disc or the gauge wheels back on, and that entails shimming them so that there's it's either just barely touching or there's a little itty bitty gap between the gauge wheel and the opener, because you want everything to be as tight as you possibly can get it when you're dealing with a planter like this, because we're doing something very essential to the farm, and that's putting the seed in the ground. And a good crop starts with a good planter. This is what it looks like down in it. So this deal right here, the actual, this width right here goes on this little pin, and most of the time you don't need to put a shim on this side, but you do need to shim it on this side so that it's able to hold down and not wiggle around like this and throw off your planting depth and get dirt all up in there. And I've only had one where I've had to put more than one shim on the inside of the row. And with that, the planter is done. I'm very, very glad that this is done and I don't have to sit on my rear end in the dirt anymore. That wasn't very fun. Now we've got other stuff to do. Yesterday, Dad and our main man, Rob, were working on our S790 that we cut beams with. There was some stuff there at the top of the feeder house that was not in good shape because we may or may not have ran a piece of wood through it. That's not important. The important part is we saved $1,300 from the labor for part of it, and that made a pretty good payment on the shop. That's why we built a shop, is so that we could work on stuff ourselves, not have to pay John Deere their labor rates. We replaced some chopper knives there in the chopper. They're up in there. And we've been working on our 9460R, patching a couple holes, like right here there was one, and then up on the top of the hood there was one, and over on this side there was a little ding where I may have dropped a power line on it when I ran off a cliff. But again, not important. The important part is we got it done. Side note, you would not believe how torquey this little son of a gun is. I put together most of the gauge wheels with this thing, and let me tell you what, it beats the heck out of using this. So this is the end of the video, and I'm glad you watched. If you made it this far, you should probably subscribe. There's 70% of my viewers that aren't subscribed, so if you just click the button, it'd be pretty cool. But we're at 1320 right now, and 1500 is not far away, and neither is 2000, or 10,000 for that matter. Well, yeah, that's getting a little lofty, but we'll get there someday. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you come back next time. Catch you on the next one.